One of the issues with being called mentally ill, when you are called mentally ill, you are not heard anymore. So you have to rely on someone else to speak for you, which is difficult because when you're called mentally ill, people don't listen to you. They don't listen to what you got to say. They sure as hell don't look at any evidence. They just assume that any accusation that any other human being makes must be true. Britney Spears shaved her head. Okay? Now, Britney Spears is a pretty white girl who has millions of dollars to hire her own attorney and has spent millions of dollars on said private attorneys. And still, she's been involved in 13 years worth of battle over that one shaved head. You know, once you get that tag of mentally ill and people start treating you that way, it will drive you fucking crazy. Being treated like you don't matter, like you don't know what the hell is going on, like you don't know up from down, left from right, like you forgot to spell your name, you don't know how to wipe your own butt anymore. No, it's not like that. Now, this whole conservatorship with Britney Spears, well, some states call it a guardian, but you got different stuff that you're dealing with there. Some of it's the finances, some of it is the medical stuff, and some of it is guaranteeing your rights. Someone calling themselves that one, this one said, "Hi, Sean. Hello, that one, this one. Haven't seen you in a while." Um, Britney Spears' situation, believe it or not, is far less complicated than mine. It's a lot less complicated. Now, she's got all of these resources behind her. She's also got the added benefit of the fact that she's not male. That definitely helps. She got blonde hair. That helps too. That one, this one typed it's Talitha. Hello, Talitha. There's a lot going on here. Now, on the one hand, Brittany's case is important because it shows how we, those of us who are tagged with mentally ill, how we are preyed upon, how easily we are preyed upon, and how uphill a battle it is. Britney Spears spent $3 million on just one of her lawyers. $3 million. And this most recent victory that she had, it's a small drop in a big pond. Her battle is nowhere near over. She's gonna hopefully be able to see her own doctors, something that's denied to millions of Americans who are treated like they're mentally ill. And mentally ill could mean any number of things. But in people's minds, what it registers as is schizophrenia. It registers as somebody who's a psychopath, potentially, or a serial killer, or a rapist. It's pretty messed up. Now, people aren't really going to see Britney Spears that way. I mean, first of all, she's a girl. And contrary to what evidence shows, the general public doesn't believe that a girl could possibly be a predator. So she's got that going for her. She's pretty. The prettier you are, the more likely it is that people are going to listen to you. That's just a fact. And she is pretty. She's equilateral. She's the same on the left as she is on the right. That's what humans are attracted to. It's called conformation when we talk about it in horses. But after this partial stuff with her conservatorship, what's she going to do with her future? What rights is she going to be allowed to have? Are they going to allow her to be the adult that she is? See, that right there is a big point that lots of people don't want to get. Oh, you just need to be an adult. Britney just needs to be an adult. Well, she's not allowed. How can you tell somebody to do something that they're not allowed to do? You are. And you take that for granted, and you show how much you take it for granted every time you say something ignorant like that. I didn't see Britney Spears as a human being until she shaved her head. That's what made her human to me. I don't mean like I thought of her as an alien or something like that before, but she was really just some rich person on the TV before she shaved her head. She doesn't have to deal with the things that I got to without at least some support. Some support beyond what I got for certain, because she had, what, $3 million for just one lawyer. That's a lot of money. For me, I couldn't afford that. I couldn't even afford to get myself out of jail. The bail was too much. Although I do have a check here sitting right next to me for bail because I was arrested improperly and illegally. They had absolutely no evidence, but because I was called mentally ill, they didn't have to have evidence. My guilt was just assumed. But then, when I fired the public pretender that I had, his name is Robert Harvoy, I got a new lawyer or public defender, and I will call her a public defender because she did at least something. If Robert Harvoy had done his job, I wouldn't have spent 7 months locked up for trumped up charges. I spent 7 months locked up, 6 of those months in prison. I was charged with misdemeanors, and all of the charges were dropped because there was no evidence. I never even got to enter a plea, and I spent 6 months in prison being systematically abused, being denied my rights over and over and over again. But they get away with it, just like they get away with it in nursing homes, and they get away with it in foster homes, and they get away with it in jails, and they get away with it in behavioral health centers and mental hospitals by turning off the volume on their cameras and selling whatever narrative they want. It's just your word versus theirs, and you don't matter because you have the mentally ill tag. Many of the places that I was sent, if I'd have been able to show people evidence, being access to the internet, would have been enough to show them that I was telling the truth about the things I was saying to them. But for some odd reason, none of these people or places have that access. Now, they were supposed to send me to a place called the Regional Center. And that place, I would have had the access of a human being. I would have had access to the internet. I could have shown the doctors what was going on. You know what saved me in the jail? Although the doctor that they assigned, who spent less than an hour with me overall, was an idiot. There were 7 other doctors that I saw while I was in there, and none of them thought that I was, well, any of the things that were claimed about me. See, they were told that I was schizophrenic when I was locked up. Sheriff Scott DaCosta, in specific, was in charge. Scott DaCosta, as many of you know, I've been trying to get the Nebraska State Patrol to do something about for literally years. No matter what, there's some excuse why it's not their job. Well, apparently it actually is their job, and they should have done their job to begin with. But they ignored abuse against a disabled person because disabled people don't matter, especially when they're males, especially when they're homeless, especially when they're trying to turn in bad officers. And you know, even with Britney Spears' millions of dollars, it's taken 13 years just to get to this point. How many years is it going to take me to get my humanity back? How many years is it going to take me to finally have human rights? I have them on paper, but in real life, it don't work that way. If nobody gives a shit, well, these guys can all turn a blind eye. The courts, the cops, everybody. Even your own public pretender. Court appointed. So somehow that makes it okay that he does not do his job. It's horrible. I don't have the resources that Britney Spears does, but that doesn't mean I can't still speak out and tell my own story. And that's what I do.